Hello, everyone. My name is Nicholas Rainey, and this presentation is directed towards teachers of teenagers. So, we're given the quote, trust in the capacity of this generation to disentangle itself from the embroilments of a divided society. And when I first brainstormed this topic, I thought, how do we keep students focused so they can reach their goals? Or how do we keep their eyes on the prize, like my wife said? So, since we're in college, we have been exposed to many teachers, and we should know which ones have been effective at this point and what did they do differently versus the rest. And thinking back, I think of some of the best teachers have been the ones that understood our schedules and understand the things that do come up and interfere with school. So, I believe the first step towards assisting our students is to understand what they're going through. And on slide two, we're talking about the difficulties of youth. So, what are the difficulties that our students struggle with? And I believe that poverty would have a great effect on a teenager. How well does a student focus when they're hungry? Probably the same as us. It's hard to think about anything else when we are hungry. We lose energy, we get irritable, and we get stressed out. What if we don't have a stable home to live in? I think about my mom who works as a nurse assistant at elementary school, and she got a call a few days from a student who was looking for temporary housing for his three brothers and sisters. Now, I try to imagine what it would be like to not know where we're going to be sleeping the next day or two, and then how the basics of living are always going to be put above our classwork. So that should definitely have an impact on us. Now we can think of family problems. What happens to a student during divorce? And I could speak from personal experience on this one. During my junior year of high school, my parents got divorced and my grades tanked. We were transitioning houses and things were getting split up between my two parents, and school was probably the last of my focuses during that period. So certainly, family stability would give a student an edge over someone that didn't have that. And lastly, abuse, whether verbal or physical, this would definitely have an impact on a student. So on to the next slide. Since this is directed toward teenagers, um, I found this quote pretty relevant. It's from the book. It says, because adolescence is a time during which relationships with peers and non-familiar adults become more important, independence becomes more desirable, and rules and regulations are increasingly scrutinized. These changes in the school climate create a mismatch between what adolescents need and what the school provides. So, what is it like for a teenager going to a new school? It's all new to them, and they don't necessarily have all the familiar faces that they grew up with, and they are not in a comfortable position. At this age, their interest in relationships is getting pretty strong, and certainly their attention is away from schoolwork. Most importantly, though, they just want to fit in. They don't want to draw any attention to themselves. They just want to make this new home of theirs, their school, a comfortable place to be. And this does take time, though. So on slide four, the teacher's role. What can teachers do to assist these students? How can a teacher in only a short amount of time help a student get past all these challenges and problems that they're focused on, um, and switch that focus onto schoolwork? The first step would be to take an active role in getting to know the students, know their names, get to know their personalities. Uh, we also need to be aware of their attendance and if their grades start slipping, and then go and ask them, find out why this is happening. And lastly, we just need to encourage them. I've I figured that a student is much more likely to do well in class if they're worried about disappointing a teacher. This will not only help them temporarily forget about everything else that's going on in lives, but also benefit them long term. And that is my presentation. Thank you for listening.